All right, here we are, guys. We're back. Where last time, previously on Happy Coding, what did we do last time? Oh, we got the doors. We blew the bloody doors off. We were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Yeah, so we got that done. And we tidied up the mothership just a little. And we abandoned the idea of doing a shift. And I don't remember. I know we did something else, but well, we got the landing thing going. So we can land like that. And it does kick over into the platform, but that's exactly what the arcade does. So we decided to keep it. I'm sure Andy won't be very happy. So we've got to think about what to do now. I think we'll have to, well, let's make some little notes here. So this is actually going to be check state 2, right? So we're going to change the game state, which means that we're not going to have the asteroids and all that are not going to be running. The player sprite even is not going to be running. Literally, it's just going to be this little man running down and running up, right? So here's what I need to do. We need to clear the help sign if it's there. So that we can just, literally we can just wipe that, fill that with empty bytes, easy enough. And then, now whether I should, oh, sorry, a bit of a yawn came on. Just looking at that, whether I should, just clear the sign here or this one, or just clear both because it doesn't really matter. I could run a check on my left or right. Yeah, I'll probably do that. And then clear the help sign. Then we have to figure out who needs rescuing. Sorry, I just had a little sleep before I came on, so just getting my oxygen back. So we remove whoever needs rescuing, we remove them. Start the running colonist in there. Colonist runs down to lower level. Colonist runs left or right to the ship. And then moves up to the ship. Sorry, I should really cover my mouth when I'm yawning, but then again, nobody's here, so I'm not exactly breathing on anyone. Okay, once the colonist hits the ship, we reset the asteroids. And I guess and then it's, more or less we're going to re-enable the player ship at that point. And then so that'll be all initializing game state 3, right? So we're not going to do that today. But perhaps what we can do is get this colonist active and running and everything else, right? So that's good. Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. I think I'll just have a little stretch. Right. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at I haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to take a look at the old version that I did ages ago. Just simply because I know that I've got sorry, I just misclicked. So just bear with me. Looking at here. A very old AGD. I don't know. Remember if I used sprites or for the man. Ah, there it is. Oh, I need that as well. I forgot about that. Right. So we've got this little tumbling man. And we've also got that one. We might as well do all of these now. They're not going to be part of the character set. We'll treat them as an 8x8 sprite because they will need to be shifted depending on where we are on the screen, right? And obviously we've got this character here. So I've got them all there, look, in a sprite sheet. So I guess I'll just save this and export them. Okay, so this is one of the things I added to AGD was the ability to export sprites and indeed import them. Well, no, that was an option, but it was done using tap files, I think. It's a bit fiddly. So this sprite sheet was generated. I think you could import but not export. So this sprite sheet is generated, and I can just save it off in here. Okay, I might as well leave it in this folder. I know you guys can't see this, but anyway. Sorry, in my hurry, I saved it as an incorrect file extension. Oh, right, just a minute. Is it? Ah, right, sorry. I thought I was using Fuse. should work now. ZX Paintbrush. Is that here? Yeah, here it is. That'll do. You can get out of the way. Wonder how many yawns I've got left. Okay, so let's get this into ZX Paintbrush. Oh, now I'm confused. Can't find the folder. Ah, no, it's okay. It just wasn't in order. Right, so I just need to just grab, what do we need? These ones over here. Right, so we'll just grab these. Now the thing about all of these is that you could, let me go back into the main graphics page. Okay, so, oh, come on, what, let me paste it. What, oh, that is so annoying, right? ZX Paintbrush has this annoying bug where sometimes it loses the ability to copy and paste from itself. And I'm not sure if you have to completely reset or do a new one or whatever, but it's annoying, very annoying. See, now I've got the option. I'm allowed to paste now. It wouldn't let me do that last time, so I'm not quite sure why, but still, it is a really good program on the whole, so I'm not complaining too much. Right, so here's our graphic. Right, we'll just, I don't think we need any of this now. We've got copies of that over there anyway, so we'll use this as a bit of a scratch. Now, if we look at these, I mean, they could be stored as part of the character set, but I'm not. The thing with if you've got something like this in the character set, then you're basically it's because you're using multiple instances, right? So, for example, letters, you're going to use them together with others, right? Landscape blocks, you're going to use them more than one at a time, or you're dealing with groups of tiles, right? Whereas with these, it's going to be like a one-off. Yeah, so we're going to get one character. Either well, I suppose this one there are actually two, but it's not so much of a muchness, isn't it? So I think I'm also gonna just do a flip. Should I do a flip or not? I suppose I don't really need to flip it. It's only going to be 8 bytes. This character here. I do have code that will let me flip that and determine which sprite to use. I wonder. Is it worth flipping it? So what I would do is I would flip it at the start, copy it to a buffer, because there is a spare buffer anyway, that an 8-byte buffer that I use for flipping the other sprites. So it wouldn't take any memory to use that. and then I could just use that to draw the character. I'm just wondering whether it's worth it. If not, then I would set that character with a source byte, you know, high and low source byte. I suppose it might be worth it. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's an interesting thing to do, so okay, we'll do it. We'll flip it. I'm doing that on the basis of it being an interesting educational option. Okay, so let's go and get these bytes, right? So yeah, what you could do is you could pre-shift it, right? This one, and draw them in here like this, and then each one would be 16 bytes. And the reason that's done here is because there's a lot of them and we're drawing a lot and it's going to be fast. But in this instance, nothing else is going to be happening. The asteroids aren't moving. Nothing is going on. So we don't actually need to worry in terms of that. So now, just while I remember, I'm just thinking, multitasking, thinking two things at once. I'm just going to add to my notes here that I also need to update the score. Okay, so we'll just add that to the notes just in case we forget. Not that we'll need reminding, but anyway. All right, so oh, Andy says it's going to be on in a minute. So so Andy might be along soon, and then I'll explain. So I was going to explain what I was going to do here, but since Andy's going to be on in a minute, I'll wait for him to do that. Well, you never know, someone else might turn up. What I'll do then is I'll export this. I'll get these 3 bytes and I'll export 3 characters, tiles, and put them into the source. Then I might just have another look at the arcade and just see what's going on. Okay, so again, ZX Paintbrush, export to clipboard, tiles 8x8, and all right, so okay, into the source code we go. Sorry, I'm just scrolling right through this. Tell you what, you know what? There's a lot of code, isn't it? Really, I mean, you know, for a simple game, you can't really count this data, can you? But still, 3,000 lines, 3,000 lines of code, something like that. anyway, so we're not going to shift. So what we'll do is, I think we can put it in here, mouth anim, right? There's a bit of data here. Let's have a look where that is. Let's see if we're not going to create a big gap or anything with that. Do we have the space? I don't know. EA. I think there's only about 8 bytes there, isn't there? It's not going to be enough. That's a pity. Or is it 16 bytes? Well, even if it's 16, it's not enough, is it? It's just a bit too short. We're at EA there. So basically EA is 234 out of a total of 256. I can't quite squeeze it in there. Oh, that's the Y lookup table. Oh, well, hang on a minute. I think I made a mistake with that. Oh, no, I didn't. CO here. And the other Y, that's, yeah, so I'm just trying to, you know, put things in, little things into the lookup tables. So this line swap buffer, that's what I was talking about when I said I had 8 pixels to spare. Don't think I've got anything to spare on in here anymore. We'll just have a quick look. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary that I kind of fit them in here, but it's, I guess it's an example of good practice again. So this one is, no, this one is absolutely full. FO to F8. There are actually 8 bytes left inside there, so that's no good. That's fine, you know, it's only 8 bytes. It can go somewhere else. Yeah, I don't want to put it in the big graphics table, but maybe so we can just put it at the end of the put it in here. I want the alien to go in there, so you know, like the alien spaceships. I'm gonna try and fit them in there, so I'll just see. So X lookup table. You know, I just realized actually the X values, right? You know, when you're looking up the positions, we aren't, the X value is never greater than what is it? Let's have a look. If you look at this, right, the X value for the lookup table. Do I use it for printing the scores and stuff? Maybe I do. No, I don't think I do. So I think there's about 30 bytes there, isn't there, that are never used. Let's have a look. So, well, 32 bytes, isn't it? Because those 4 there. Yeah, I don't think we need these bytes here. Right? Because the X never goes into that area. Now, I could be wrong. It has been known. But I reckon we can put these graphics in here. I think so. So x is never greater than 224, right? I don't think. We'll soon find out because something will break quite quickly if it doesn't work. You know, I might be using it for printing the graphics on the left side of the screen there. You know, the right side of the screen. You know, printing the but I don't know. I don't think so. So what have we got here? This is what's going on? Right, Running Man and Falling Man 1 and Falling Man 2. Honestly, I mean, this small amount of bytes, right? You probably don't really need to sort of slot it in there. But you know what? If you've got a lookup table and you're not using that little bit of space, then why not just put another table in there or something which fits nicely, that you know is inside the same page, then you know that you don't have to worry. And you're not wasting, just being a bit more efficient, right? So we'll do that now. And then we'll have a look and see if it breaks anything, because yeah, there's no reason I can think that I need to look up with an X value in this region, apart from writing letters. But again, I don't think that I use the lookup table for that. I might. We'll soon find out. Oh, well, yeah, obviously I do. Look. Okay. Well, that has put paid to that plan, hasn't it? I must be using the lookup table for printing in that area, which is, oh well. Too bad. Thing is, it's also a multiplication table, multiply by 8. So, okay, we'll scrap that. It was a possibility. And, you know, just restore these. There we go. I thought I could, but I can't. Okay, well, we've got all this font stuff, which is also aligned to 256. So I guess we'll just put them in here and align them to yeah, I'll put them in here. Because I mean, it doesn't even matter the speed. I can just, with the source, I can just use 16-bit add, even if it runs over. It doesn't matter, because it's in terms of speed, it's all fine really. So I guess we'll just do it that way. Okay, so we'll make sure. Let's make sure that the thing that I broke has now been restored. It was a nice idea, but not to be. There we go. Okay, don't tell anyone I did that. Okay, so Running Man, Falling Man. Well, not necessarily a man, is it? But then again, if you look at character, traditionally it's a stick person, so running person. Anyway, running colonist. Actually, you know what? Just for consistency, I will write running colonist. I'm not trying to be super PC or anything. I've been using colonist all the way through to reference So, you know, it just feels appropriate. I'll do that. All right, so code is in. Still, I don't know. Is that you, Andy? Are you there? Do you want to? Should I get you on Discord or what? Just have a quick look at the arcade. Just a second. Right. No, I have not been playing Mahjong. Playing Mahjong. I have no idea what these Mahjongs are. But anyway, apparently in Maine there's like millions of Mahjongs. Oh yeah, there is. Look, there's quite a few. Yeah, look at all those Mahjongs. Crikey. When I was at school, there's a couple of kids from, I think they were from Hong Kong, and they used to play Mahjong, and they offered to teach me, and I didn't take them up on the offer. Mainly because when they were playing, they were just talking in Cantonese the whole time, and I felt like they were probably cheating, you know. I don't know, but anyway, I never learned. It's an interesting game, isn't it? But yeah, I like the Yakuza series, right? And I'm a bit of a completionist, and I wanted to get all the achievements or whatever. But there's this whole part where you've got to learn to play mahjong and be quite good at it. And the same with what do they call Japanese chess? There's a game that's like chess. It's shogi, something like that. Yeah, shogi, right? It's called shogi. Yeah, very similar to chess. And again, you know, you have to learn it. And I really, I really wanted to get those achievements. So I tried playing like an online version with the AI, where I would make the moves that the so when the computer made a move, I would copy that move as the player, and then my move, you know, like playing it online, so that I could mirror um, what the computer did in the one game, and then I would do that. What the computer did, it would be me in the online game, and then the computer's response would be my response to the game, right? So theoretically, the AI would play and help me to win the game, but I couldn't follow it. It was too difficult. All the pieces have sort of kanji on them, and I just had no idea what. I probably could have applied myself, but did I really want to? The answer was not really. Life is just a little bit too short for that. But the Yakuza series is perhaps my favorite game series of all time now. It's such a good time playing it. Let me adjust my headphones so I don't have to listen to the double sound. Oh, just realized something. The thrust kicks in when you're about to land. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting because I'm going to have to detect that, aren't I? That throws the plan into a cocked hat. I'll have to think about that. I guess it's probably 8 pixels above the yeah, okay. Right. So, let's try that again. Hello, Andy. I'll get you on Discord. Just realised that when you land, the thrust kicks in. So I'm gonna have to do that. So anyway, we'll get you on the old Discord. Okay. We'll just do a voice call, mate. Hello? All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's quiet.
Hey?
No, I can hear you. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, so I was going to do this colonist running to the landing, but then I just noticed, I went back to the arcade, had a little look just to see how it worked. And I realized that when the player gets within 8 pixels of a platform, the thrust kicks in automatically.
Okay.
So in the here we've got this check landscape thing, right?
Yep.
And we've got these values.
Yep.
And we may have to adjust them. These ones, right? 158 here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just wondering, well, maybe it won't be that tricky. I reckon what I could do is we could take one of these, values off here.
Yeah.
I'll just share, I'll share the notepad with you so that you can be in sync. Right, got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'll do is we'll have to code this. I think this is probably the best way. So we'll code it here with 8 pixels higher, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this. So this will be one more check that we have to do.
Yeah.
Which is just, are you at this level? Then you need to fire the thrusters.
Yeah.
But oh, it's only if the platform is there though. Right? So if the platform's not there, you don't fire the thrusters. So you have to sort of check if the platform is there. All right. Well.
Well, don't we know that?
Well, yeah, but only when we hit 158, not before.
Oh.
See what I mean?
Yeah. You can't do the check.
Well,
because you could just like hit the level to instigate the thrust and then veer off wildly and miss the platform.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this needs a bit of thought. Well, I mean, I think. Okay, let's have a quick look at the arcade again and just see what it does, right? Because, I mean, it might have. It might not check what position we're in. If you see what I mean, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it might kick off earlier. You know, it might just be that when the player's at a certain level. Last. Still, we can find out. Okay, so we have to land down here. Ah, I think we're in luck. They've gone for the lazy option, which is fine. I think when the ship gets to a certain height,
It takes away control.
it doesn't take away control, but it fires the thrusters. Automatically. Yeah?
Right.
Like this, watch. I think.
Any height.
Yeah, no, watch. See? You'll see it on the thing now. It's going to be dead easy to do. Look, see?
Oh, so it just gets to a certain height and then thrust comes on. Right.
And the thrust just comes on, yeah. So they've gone for this shortcut option. I had a feeling they might. You know, they don't have a lot of memory to play with, so
Yeah.
that's a result. So we can cancel this. And actually, the thrust, put firing thrust, that thrust will fire even if you don't have any fuel, I reckon, as well.
Probably.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I can't see why it wouldn't, but I suppose. Okay, we'll check it. We'll check that as well. Right, let's do that quickly. All right, so we'll do that dead quick. Main thing we did last night was we got the doors to open and close. The doors to close. They weren't closing.
Not open yet.
They opened, but they didn't close. But now they close.
Okay.
Right. I'm just burning up my fuel out here alone now. Oh no! Did you see that? It didn't fire the fuel when there was no fuel. See, I've got no fuel.
Yeah.
Safe landing, but
it's gone very, very, very laggy. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. There's the answer.
Yeah.
Okay then. All good. Another lesson learned. All right. So what we do then is this. So fuel. Let me see. Now it could well be that I also, perhaps when I draw the thrust, it might be that there's a thing called fuel up, I think it is, or something. I can't remember. But I need to see when we check how if the player is out of fuel. I don't remember where that is in the code. I'm just going to search for fuel.
Okay.
Set fuel to 800. Print fuel. No. Oh, okay. This is where we check fire. Fire is pressed. Does the player have fuel? There. I see. So what I've done is I've disabled the fire button when the fuel is empty.
Oh, right.
So, and the reason I do that is also because then, you reduce the fuel if there is fuel.
Yeah.
So you don't just. Okay, well, it's easy enough to do. We'll just use the same check. Like this. It doesn't take up a lot of memory, I don't think. So in the check landscape here, we've got a loop here, but this is going to be outside the loop. In fact, we need to check if the player is going to crash on the left or right as well. Into the into the landing on the colonists on the left and right. So, we need to check that too. And in fact, I reckon that check is also going to happen at about the same place as when the thrust fires, more or less. Okay, so we'll actually go. Okay, we'll do the thrust thing first. Check for thrust. Okay, load A, play Y, compare 150. And actually, if we're at 150, we don't need to do any other checks on any of the platforms because it's at the highest level, isn't it? So it was 150, right? So we'll just go ret no carry, right? No, ret carry. It's ret carry, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. So for example, if it's 149, then that would cause a carry. So okay, and then I'm just wondering if I draw the player. Well, we'll find out if this works soon enough, I guess. Land the fuel, okay. And then here, this one should be okay. So if this is 0, not 0 means we have fuel, right?
Yep.
And in this case, 0 means we have no fuel. That makes sense? So you've got two numbers of your fuel like this, right? And then, so if this one is not 0, we have fuel. If that one's 0, then this one, and then you go, this one's 0. Oh yeah, 0, 0. That means there are two zeros.
Yeah.
It only comes to here if there's a 0. So then if there's a second 0, that means there's no fuel. There's no fuel. We just go to the standard landing check. Here, now the player thrust, I don't think it uses. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look. Does it use the fuel when even though you're not pressing fire? I don't think it will, but I guess we'll have to check. You understand what I mean? Like when the player gets down to the bottom.
Yeah.
and it fires the thrusters,
Yep.
does it take some of your fuel? I really don't think it will, but we'll find out. It doesn't. Okay then. Similarly, actually, when you go back up, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but when you fly back up, and you can press fire, and the thrusters get fired. What have I done to the notepad? What's happened to that? Is it? Have I just removed it by mistake? Or did I drop it down somewhere? I think I've removed it, have I? You can still see it, right? Obviously, but
Yeah.
on you can't see it on the stream though. I think I've removed it on the stream. Okay, hang on. Oh no, it says it's there. Wait a minute. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I dragged it over or something. Maybe that was a second copy. Or anyway, we're all good. We're back. Okay, so let me check what happens here when we draw the player. It drops into the thrust routine here. This one, load A player thrust default, and 0 means no thrust. So, oh. Okay, change of plan. Maybe. I'm just thinking. Because there's this whole thing where it's like to the left, to the right, you know?
Yeah.
You know the whole thrust thing? It's like
Yeah.
it figures
Yeah.
it all, it's like figuring it all out. Oh no, it does actually no, it does that in the drawing routine, I think. Does it? Yeah, it does. Okay then. So player thrust default. What's this? Fuel okay. All right. It seems like when the fuel is okay, we set the player thrust default to 3. To be honest, I can't even remember why that is. But anyway, I'm just going to roll with it. So, land fuel okay. Load A3, load player thrust default A. Right. We'll see if that works. I can't even remember what that means. Let me try and find it in the code. I should generally it'd be a good idea if I knew what my own code did. What does it do? Perhaps it's the offset from the center of the player or something. I don't know. Or is it the clock? Ah, it's the clock timer. It's the timer for the thrust.
Right.
So it updates the clock. You know how often the clock triggers the...
Yeah.
Okay. So it goes 3, 2, 1. Let's see what it does. Hopefully it might just work. That's weird. Why have I got a white border now? I didn't have that before. Oh, I might... Well, it works, but oh no. What a nightmare. There's a few other things gone wrong there as well. Look, some weird corruption on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Right, but isn't that because you're taking away flame thrust? Or you, I guess you are redrawing the platform every frame, right? Or every.
sorry?
It, it, it's hard to see. It's small on the screen. But isn't that the thrust? Isn't that the thrust being taken away from the platform?
No, it's just it's a mess. It's what it is.
There's a line as well on that other star, isn't there?
Yeah, it's all a mess.
Mm.
It's,
Right. Okay.
it's okay though. I'll just take a different approach. We'll take a different approach, right? We'll come out of this. We'll get rid of all this bit here. And let's just see. So at this point, this is where we check the file. Hello, Graham. Welcome. So our current challenge, Graham, is to make the players' rockets fire when they reach a certain height. And we just tried to jimmy rig it a little bit, and it didn't work. So now, what I'm going to do now then, Andy, is I'm going to automatically I'm going to check. Well, I'm going to kind of reverse this, right? So what I'm going to do is here, you see where it says check fire, yeah? Can you see in the code?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to put this here. So before we check if the fire button has been pressed,
Yeah.
we're going to check if the player has fuel.
Yeah.
And if the player has fuel,
Yeah.
if the player doesn't have fuel, then there's no fuel allowed, right?
Yeah.
And now check player height.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Now we still have to overcome this thing here about reducing the fuel.
Yeah.
But I think we can figure that out. So, okay. So we'll check the player height here, right? And
Yep.
we'll go load a. Now, if I do this right, it'll mean that even when you're pressing fire,
Yeah.
you still won't, the fuel still won't be reduced. You see what I mean? And I don't know if that's what happens in the game or not. I suppose we should check that too. All right, let's have a look and see what it does. You understand what I mean?
I think so, yeah.
When you, if you, you know, like, it's like if you, okay. So for the benefit of everyone watching, we wanted, you got to think of like every different possibility of things that can happen, especially when you get an accurate version of this, right? So when you hit the bottom, the fuel is triggered. But like so we checked it here to see first of all if your fuel was reduced. And the answer is it isn't, right?
Yep.
But the next question is, what about if I'm actually firing the rocket myself? Will the refuel stop? Do you see what I mean? Will it say, oh no, you get free thrust? No, you don't get free thrust, do you? You can watch it there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, that's the answer. So it's not. So what I've done here is you would get some free thrust if you did that. If you're pressing fire. So we need to think about that. Okay, well, you can shut up. It's mid-game, that's why it's doing that. Where is it? Oh, I can leave it like that. Push 1 or 2 player button. Fine. All right, so okay, I think we can do this. Fuel, okay. We go to here. We do this. Oh no, wait a second. Right, so there's a whole fuel update routine here that happens. Okay, so chatting away. Someone in Australia, where is it this time?
Oh, he's sending me messages. He's saying he's just got in from work. Or just got up or something.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. No fuel available. Right? And here we've got no in-game fire, right? Which is down here. It's down to here. Okay. Now let me just think about this. A little distracting though. I don't know if you can turn that off.
I don't know how to.
Because it's like anyone, you're sort of coded to think that someone's messaging you.
No.
You can't help it, you know. I'm like, who's that?
If I turn off the sound for Discord, then I can't hear you on Discord.
Oh well, can you not turn off play a speaker on Discord now? I don't know if it's an option. It's like microphone only, you know, or something. I don't know. It might not be possible.
Can't see. Not an option if you right click on it. Only if it's like if we're like on video chat, you can do that.
Hmm. There must be a turn off. What is it? WhatsApp or what?
No, it's Discord.
Ah,
It's just like a direct message on Discord.
well, at the bottom of the user settings, scroll down, click on notification until you see sounds. Turn the toggle. Disable notification sounds.
Okay, notifications. Disable that. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so right, let's think about this. It just when I'm trying to figure something out, it's slightly distracting, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so right, does the player have fuel? No fuel available. Oh no, there's no point in that because it doesn't fire even when if there's no fuel available, does it? Okay, so this shouldn't be too hard to do though. Right. Fire is pressed. Okay, so we'll go to player height, right? And compare 150 and then let me just see. Here it's set that here's where it sets the player thrust default, and then it goes reduce the fuel and update the fuel. Right, none of that happens.
Right.
So what I think we can do, let me think just a minute. Yeah, I know what we can do. It's this here, right? So here we go JRNZ, fuel OK, right?
Yep.
So what happens there is if the fire is pressed, well, if we don't have fuel, we don't test for fire anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Then we check if fire is pressed. If fire is pressed, we'll jump to fuel OK here. Here we say fire was not pressed. Check player height. Player Y compare to 150. Then JR if there is a carry. No, if there's no carry. Yeah, so like if it's 151, then there'll be no carry.
Yep.
Well, there'll be no carry if it's 150 as well, but you know, 1 pixel, it ain't gonna matter. So jump if no carry to no in-game fire, right? No thrust. Because no fire, no thrust. Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, we're gonna have to repeat this bit here where we go load A3, load player thrust default A, unless I guess I can do, perhaps I can do that after I've reduced the fuel. No, I can't because we check for if it runs out at that point, right? Okay, so we'll just live with it. Just live with that then, right? Here, load player thrust default, and then JR to no in-game fire, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
And we don't need to set the fuel to update or anything. It's just literally turning on the thrust graphic, I think. I hope it doesn't start playing hell with everything else, but in theory at least. Looks like Graham's gone. He's popped in and out. Not to worry. Okay. Oh, got it the wrong way around. Look, he's thrusting the whole way. Oh,
Yeah.
and it's making him slow down.
Yeah.
That's the clock timer, you see.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know it's not the game. I kind of like that it does that though. Like it's what would happen.
well, yeah, I know. And by the way, when you land on the platform, you know you've got that 1 pixel overlap that you didn't like.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it came out in the code when I coded it. I wasn't
Oh,
planning it, but it came out that way, and then the arcade does it, so I've left it in.
left it in. Okay.
But look, anyway, it's all wrong because the fuel's getting reduced and everything. So,
Mm.
oh, this is going to be annoying because
Can't you just make a
well, maybe
routine?
not. I don't know. Look, let me try this, right? Let me try and set the clock to 1 here, right? It might work. I don't think it will, but it might. What did you want to say?
I was just going to say, I was thinking, why don't you just have a little routine and all it does is renders the flame again, renders the thrust.
See, that's not working either.
like have it completely independent, separate from everything else. But
Well, it's already nice, and it's really nice because it just drops in on the player, exactly on the player, you know, because the source and everything is directly below the player. You don't even need to look it up, so it's really,
okay,
you know, it's a nice routine for that reason. Um, but I have a plan.
okay.
Okay, I have a plan. I think, although I don't know what do we have to do. It's going to be somewhat annoying, but I think, well, okay, so now, oh, why are you doing that? You sod. What have I done? What have I done wrong here? Let me just see. Hang on. Does the player have fuel? No in-game fire. Right. Okay. What do I need? Maybe I need JRZ fuel. Okay. Do I? I don't know. And so here we are once more with a. I had a plan for tonight, and it wasn't this. But you know, these are the challenges we face. Oh, this is annoying. Why? What have I done wrong there? Okay, time to rewind and refresh. Start again.
Yeah.
It's surprising how many little issues are thrown up just by one little thing, but
Yeah.
okay, one step at a time. First of all, let's see if that works, because what I've done is I've done the fuel check before I do the fire check, right?
Yeah.
So that in itself is something. Ah, look, it's that there. There's a problem with that already. That's what's causing the problem.
What?
Um, well, here,
Mm.
for some reason, it's just automatically, okay, well, let me go right back to here. Right, let's go right back to the start. Is that, I mean, that doesn't make any sense even, but okay, so this works. Yes, press fire, yes, and fuel. Right, we know that's how it was, right?
Okay.
That's all good. Now, what I don't understand though is this. So here we've got Oh, have I got oh, I think I know what I've done.
What's that?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you see here, right? It says fuel okay. Yeah?
Mhm.
And it's jumping down to here that the fuel is okay.
Right.
But it's completely bypassing the checking if the player has pressed fire.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? So okay. So it seems like we don't have a label called check fuel. So we'll go check fuel. And then here we'll go check fire. Right? Okay. So does the player have fuel? And then here, did the player press fire? In which case we put the clock timer on the thrust, right? Which is the thing that causes the timer to slow down the player sprite, right? So let's just look at this. Right, so you see here, update player Y.
Yep.
This is where, well, it's actually here, right? We've got, it checks the player thrust clock here, right? And if the player thrust clock, well, basically it times the player. You know, instead of, so it basically stops the player from falling, and it introduces a cycle delay, so
Right.
that every other cycle, like it has to count to 3 before it enables the downward movement.
Okay.
It's easy. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll explain, right? So imagine that the player's going down like this, right? 99, 98, 97, right?
Yep.
So normally when you're going down, it's going down every cycle like this, or every other cycle. Bum, 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 right?
Yeah.
But when you've got thrust, when the thrust is enabled, it has to
Mhm.
go, it goes 99.3, 99.2, 99.1, 99.0, 98.
Okay.
See? So it's
Yep.
like this thrust default timer, and then
Yeah.
it goes 99.0, and then it sets it to 3 again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
a clock, right?
Yeah.
So, and what that's doing is that's nothing to do with the thrust graphic. That's just purely oh, she's up and about. That's just purely causing the player to slow down, right?
Yeah.
And so if the update is 0, then it immediately just goes straight away to update player Y, right? So perhaps the only sort of thing I can think of to do is to go to here,
Yeah.
check if the fire button is pressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, not here. Sorry, just a minute. Not there. So it checks the player thrust clock, right?
Yeah.
And is it 0? Then don't make a delay, right? But let me think about this. Here, the player thrust, the clock is set, which means this is a real pain in the... Okay, hang on. Use the timer. So what we need to do here is make player Y update with the thrust active, but not affect the timer. So okay, so here, reduce the timer, update the player clock, go to player Y, get the value of Y, and jump to Y. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Oh, this is going to be this is going to be annoying. But okay. So what we'll do here, right, is we'll go. If the fire button is not pressed, no, that's no good. Wait a second. Here. Okay. Try this. Okay, so this is player velocity, right? To slow it down.
Yeah.
Player thrust clock here, check the timer. Is it 0? Then if it is, then it goes to here and it updates the player thrust clock. And the player thrust default is updated. And then it drops in and updates the player Y, right?
Okay.
Okay, that's what it already does. Now, problem that we have you see, the problem that we have is that the clock timer is set to be the thing that tells us that we can animate the thrust.
Right.
And it also determines the animation of the thrust itself, right? Like the flame.
Yeah.
Because it goes 3, 2, 1, right? And the animation of the thrust changes according to that timer.
Right.
So we can't just set that timer.
Yeah.
What we have to do instead is this is a challenge. We need to. Okay, so at that point, we know that let me just see. Okay, let me just think. Damn it. Okay. So we've got this timer kicking in, and that will be working if the player is pressing fire.
Yeah.
So so if I fire button is pressed. Okay. Fire is not pressed. Then so that's fire is not pressed. No. No, that's no good either. Okay, just a second. All right, I think I'll have to do something like this. Load a player thrust default, right?
Yep.
Which means is thrust enabled. Okay. Now, Is thrust enabled? Yes, it is. Is the player pressing fire? Sounds a bit rude, player thrusting, but there you go. Yes, the player is thrusting because we've got the fire button pressed. Yep. Now we've got here, thrust is enabled, but fire is not pressed, which means we're in that little zone, right?
Right.
Yeah, see what I mean?
Yep.
So what we have to do then is I think we have to get the player thrust clock. Ah, this is fiddly, but I guess we'll just Jimmy rig it a little bit here. No thrust reset, right? The next thing I'm going to do, if I fix this, we'll do this little sprite animation thing that I wanted to show you. I thought you'd find interesting. This is a little bit more boring, but no thrust reset. No thrust reset. Load player thrust clock, comma A. Load a player thrust default. And then guess we can go to we'll call this go to player Y. And I think we can jump here. All right, so let me talk you through this, right? So during the routine, where we check the fuel, we see if there's any fuel. And if there isn't any fuel,
Yeah.
then we don't enable the thrust timer, right?
Yeah.
So with therefore there's no thrust, right? Whether you press fire or not, whether you're down the bottom of the screen or not, there's no thrust. But now here we're updating the player, and we check to see it. We check the player thrust default to see if thrust is enabled, and if the fire is pressed. And if it is, then the player is thrusting, I think. And then at this point, that means that fire is not pressed, but thrust is enabled. So therefore, we need to update the clock for the player thrust, but not slow the player down.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I don't feel like I've explained it very well, but I don't know. This just feels like it's one of those things that's just gonna be an annoyance, you know? But anyway, because currently the animation of the thrust only works when the player is moving slowly. Look, the fucking thing isn't even dropping now. You bastard. Okay. Um. Oh well, hang on a minute. I haven't checked here. Look, I've got load A player thrust default and A. Um. Go to player Y. No. Oh yeah, sorry. No, it's not. Not enabled. So, okay. Player thrust is not enabled. Go to player Y, which means the incal load A HL, and we just update the player Y. Yeah, that seems all right. This also just feels like a stabbing in the dark a little bit as well, which is it's annoying. And you know what it is? I'll tell you what happens, and it's a good lesson for anyone coding. You know, you set your mind, you're going to do, you got one thing you want to do, and you're thinking, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to coding this. Then you find a bug, and
And
then the bug is really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
So you try and rush it. You think, oh, I'll just get this out of the way then. And
Yeah.
instead of like, it's not your main focus. This is what happens when you do that. You end up trying to rush it, trying to like,
Yeah.
yeah. And in the end, it's more haste, less speed because you know I'm gonna have to undo all this now
Yeah.
just so I can take a look at what. Okay, hang on. What also didn't help is I couldn't actually remember what I'd done originally, you know.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? Right. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little bit more slowly and we'll figure it out. Oh, 4 errors. Oh, okay, yeah, I changed the names of a few things, did I? Is that why? Right, okay. So at this point, everything should be as it was. No, it's not, because it's... That was the point where we still had that error. So I guess I must have... Perhaps I changed that after I did this bit. Oh, okay, try that first. Yeah, I had a day like this recently where I just, just like one little problem ended up taking over. Oh, you... Sorry, I'm almost on the point of using the C word now. It's just really starting to annoy me. Oh, it looks like I've got...
Do you not have it saved from an earlier version?
Oh, I can easily, yeah, yeah. But I think it's just... I think I might have just got this the wrong way around. That's all. Okay. I think it's all right. I think it's fine. This is the trials, when you do this kind of code, you've got to be ready for this kind of thing, right? So that's okay, and look, that's firing. Okay, that's back to normal. Right? Oh, that's not, though. Damn. Oh, no. Okay, well, I can fix that. I can fix that. We'll go to check fuel. Between check fuel and fuel okay. Down to reduce fuel. And we'll just rewind all this crap.
What's she doing? She's opening cupboards.
Oh, yeah, mine does that, yeah. Has she not learned how to do that before?
Oh, yeah. She hasn't done it in a while.
Perhaps she's hungry. Mine is like, can you believe this, right? She almost learned how to open a door.
Really?
I mean, like she kind of knows that the
Yeah.
handle can open a door. I don't know, like she jumps at the handle and tries to pull it down.
Nice.
but she's not. She hasn't got the weight, you know.
Uh,
Okay, right. We're back here. We're back to where we were. This is actually square one almost, right? But this routine here, check fire. This is check fire and down to reduce fuel, so I'll delete that. Wait, what? Down to there. Right. Okay, so just a minute. Ah, okay. Again, one step at a time.
yeah.
Oh, I've got one error. What's that? Check fuel. Okay. I just pasted it. I think correctly. I hope so. All right. So again, at this point, everything should be working fine and normal. Yep, it's all good. So that's all right. All right. Now, at the same time, here, load A player Y, compare 150, load A3, right? Okay, so what this should do is when you get to a lower point, the thrust will kick in.
Okay.
But it'll kick in, but it'll slow you down, but it won't reduce the fuel, right? So there's like part of it is achieved. And like you said, in a way, oh, what? No.
Why?
I think it's just because I think I've got the thing the wrong way around. I think I've got the height the wrong, the carry check, I've got it the wrong way around. It's a continuing theme. You'll find that I always get a bit confused with the carry, whether it's on or off. It's just something I do. Right. So look, I think the thrust should kick in at this height here. Yeah. Which is good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Something happened there with the
Mm.
stars there. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is. We won't worry about it for now.
Okay.
It's a bit of a concern, but I don't know. We'll worry about that later. For now, we've got the thrust kicking in. But what we now need to do is go down to the update player routine. Okay, so here's the update player routine. And set player X. And here, we're checking the timer for the player velocity, right?
Yep.
Now, reduces the timer, sets the clock here. Right, I see. Okay, so yeah. This is update player thrust. Like this, and we go player thrust default clock. Okay, right, okay. So here it checks the play. Right. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this. Load a player thrust default and a JR update player Y here. Right, so that means if thrust hasn't been set at all, then we skip it, right?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't have any effect, but I would like to just make sure that it doesn't have any effect. It should behave in exactly the same way. Okay. And again, you know, I was thinking, oh, I'll do this on the stream tonight, and how all my ideas, all my sort of thinking about what I was going to explain and everything. This wasn't it. Okay, well that is kicking in, although it seems to be a bit low. Is it a bit? It's working, but it's a bit soon. It's a bit too late, isn't it?
Mm.
That shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to fix that with the old here. I don't know. Try that 144 or something. Maybe. Hang on a minute. That thrust, when that thrust kicked in then, was it slowing down or? I couldn't tell. No, it's not slowing it. No, it's not slowing the player down at all now. This is incredibly frustrating. What have I done wrong now? The thrust is not slowing the player down at all. We got the opposite problem now.
Yeah.
But what's weird about it though is that I'm confused about this because like surely didn't I just change the value of when that kicks in? Look, I mean I'll figure this out. That's a good sign in a way. And take the positive because it shows me that the thrust animation works fine even if the player is moving down faster, you know. What's more concerning is I'm just like, shouldn't the thrust kick in? Does that seem about right to you as to a height? Yeah, I'll just do it again. You can
Yeah.
see
Do
it
it
there.
again.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So I think we can, what we can do now is we'll figure out what's going on here. Okay, well look, here I've got JR update player Y, which means ignore the timer, right?
No.
So it should be JRZ update player Y, right?
Right.
I think. Okay, that slows us down, and then when we get down here, it should still slow us down. Yeah. And so what I want to do now is stop it from it slowing us down by doing a check on this. Let me just see. So at this point, we need to check if the player, right, so the update player thrust, reduce timer. Well, okay, I'm going to try this. I think I have a feeling it might actually work. So, um, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I thought that the animation for the thrust was tied to that clock, but I don't actually think it is now. Right, there we go. Look, and we are thrusting, and we are not slowing down. Oh, bloody God, what's happened there? Look at that. It's got all kinds of.
Ooh.
Very odd indeed. Yeah, it's already 5:30. Okay, we're thrusting now and we're slowing down. That's good. And yeah, we thrusted and we didn't slow down then, right?
No,
That worked.
your stars flashing at the right rate.
Oh, I'm not worried about the stars. That's just,
Look at the bottom corner, bottom left corner.
Huh?
Look at the bottom left corner.
Yeah, some weird thing. I wouldn't worry about that. That's just to do with
Yeah.
landing. It's like the code probably hasn't been written properly, It seems to speed up though.
Thing.
This is a cool bug. Look at this.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it. It's just funny. It's just to do with the new game loop, There'll be something wrong with the game loop where it's, I think anyway. Probably. But anyway, look, the other thing is I should be able to slow down here and land slowly or quickly, but that is a bit odd though.
Yeah.
That it just crashes at that point. That is a bit odd. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we do. I mean, I'm not sure what weird bug we've put into play here. But just to be sure, I'm gonna take out the bits that I've done.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna rewind it to like for everything.
Okay.
I mean, and I'll have a look and just see if it does that, if it crashes like that anyway, because the other night it seemed to be fine. So,
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to copy from set new player X all the way down to Y is okay. Okay, and then I'll just temporarily, I'll just put it in there, that bit of code there. That's the one thing I did. And then here, check left down to reduce fuel. Right. So this is another technique that you can use, guys. If you're coding, you can just like grab bits of your code. This is what I do anyway. And then just like little backups of each of the things. And then I'll just use Control Z and just like rewind it. Oh, it's my graphic for the flip falling player. Here, running. Oh, I changed that to running colonist instead of running man, but never mind. I just wanted to be consistent. Anyway. Yeah, when you're ready. Okay, right. So that's the bit, that and that and that. Right. Okay, so go back to here. And we'll just rewind. Yeah, take all of this out as well. Take all of that back. And here are my notes on things that I need to do. And that's like before I'd started coding anything, right? So we'll run this. I don't see how we're going to do this other thing tonight, really. But you'll be on tomorrow night, will you?
I'm going to Bernie, so I'll be late.
Oh, I see. Well, I
That's
guess
why
it's a good. I guess it's a
I
good
try
sign.
and get on at other times now because
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a good sign.
yeah.
Okay. So we got no white border and any other stuff that was going on. So this is where we were before, and we landed like that, and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Froze.
Yeah.
Everything's fine, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
We must have introduced something somewhere. I don't exactly know what.
Okay.
Right. So first of all, I'll take that running man thing, and we'll put that in. Where are we going to store that? Yes, we can store it down here somewhere with the data. That's colonist draw data there. And I think I put that in there. And look, I mean, look, I don't think that would cause an issue, but it might cause a byte alignment issue in some strange way. So I guess I'll test it. Yeah, it does. How weird. Not interesting. Look at that. So introducing this data here
Yeah.
caused something to get pushed down in such a way.
It's not a jump relative or anything, is it? And you're pushing
Well, you'd get a report if that happened, you know? That's very odd, though. Very odd indeed. Can't quite explain it, really. Why that would happen. That is very, very, very strange. The thing is, I've run out of characters in the main font, you know?
Right.
But what I can do is I could try and store it down in right down the bottom somewhere out of the way.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll just store it right down there like that and see if that makes a difference. I don't know why, but that's weird because that was. I mean, it's the worst thing in the world, you know. Well, not the worst thing in the world, but it's not very pleasant when you have two different bugs and you don't know what's going on. But for some reason, that was causing a lot of heartache. Maybe it was just pushing the memory down, or maybe I don't know. But anyway, it works now, right?
Yep.
So that's all good. I was dismissive, wasn't I? I was like, no, that'll be something else, but apparently not. There you go. Okay, so now we go to go back here, and we've got this thing, reduce fuel, right? This bit here, check left to reduce fuel. So what I've done there is made a note of where it occurs. Yeah, so that I can, what I'll do then is I'll highlight check left down to reduce fuel like that, and then I just press paste. Just make sure that it's pasted in okay. Yep, like that. And then this last bit here, so from Y is okay to set new player X. You follow what I'm doing here, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm just replacing the code with the new code.
Yeah.
Just rewound everything and then just so it had gone, but I haven't lost it. So I'll just go in down to Y is okay, isn't it? That. Yeah. So basically, there was some kind of weird bug, and I've just flushed it out and replaced it. It seems like maybe I could have just gone back and changed where I stored those characters, you know?
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know why that caused a problem. All I know is that when I moved it, it worked, so I'm not going to worry.
Mm.
Okay, so we're fine. The door opens. We can thrust. There we go. Right, and now what happens here? Does it go? Yeah, it did it, right? Did it? I can look on there and see. Looks fine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and land on one of the other platforms. And
Still don't
yeah.
like the way that it goes into the platform. But
Sorry?
I still don't like the way that it sinks into the
Well,
platform.
if you look at the game, it does it every time.
Yeah,
So I can't really.
I know.
I know what you mean. I mean, if you want, I'll make you a personal version, right? Where it doesn't do it, if you like, just for you. Anyway, look, we finally beat that. I'm gonna swear, we beat that bastard thing. That was a bastard. It was really annoying me. But anyway, I think we've overcome it. Look at me avoiding the asteroids that don't even hit you anyway. Yeah, tis done, tis done. So we're obviously not going to bother with doing the rest of this stuff, this other thing today now, but let's talk about it though. At least I'll talk about it a little bit, right? If you're up for that.
Yep.
10, 15 minutes or so, maybe?
Yep.
Okay. So what I wanted to do was talk about how you can animate a sprite without pre-shifting, right?
Okay.
Now, the question is, why would you do it? Well, in this case, I'm doing it to show how it's done, right? But what I'm looking at here is, sorry, I just need to drink something. Need to drink quite a lot because I'm fasting, right? And I start to get really hungry.
Okay. Why are you fasting?
Oh, I fast every day. I'm losing weight. I'm fasting like between midday and 3.
Okay.
It's really good for you. You should, for our age, yeah. It's really good when you get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, for you, if you're working in the mornings and stuff, well, you could stop. What time do you normally have your evening meal?
Probably about 7, 8.
Yeah. So once you've had your evening meal, that's it, right? No food. Just drink tea or water. No, nothing with sugar, no calories.
Right.
Yeah. After about 10 hours, 8 or 10 hours, you go into ketosis. You start burning off your body fat.
Okay.
But the idea is that if you can, you'll hit it when you're asleep.
Right.
Like the hungriest part will be when you're asleep.
Okay.
So you get over it.
Right. So you get up, have breakfast, and then you're fine.
Well, it depends on how many hours you fast, but you should fast for about at least 12 hours.
Okay.
So yeah, that would if you had your evening meal at like 8 or 9,
yeah,
and then you fasted all the way through until 9 the next day,
Mm.
then you've done 12 hours, which is kind of all right.
Okay.
If you can do more, then that's also good, you know. But I don't have breakfast. I just have tea or water
Mm.
without
You do
milk,
that
by the
every
way.
day.
Hmm?
You do it every day.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no snacking, no kind of raiding the fridge and stuff. That's the thing that always gets me, is
Yeah.
fridge raiding in the night, you know. So, yeah, you can just I know there's this big thing, people saying that breakfast is really important, but it's actually not true. What's actually more important is that you drink plenty of water in the morning, because
Right.
if you think about it, you haven't had anything to drink for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So it's actually the hydration factor is more important than the food factor. But the other thing is that oftentimes you you like right now, or when you wake up in the morning, you think you're hungry, right? But quite often, what you actually are is you're just thirsty
Right.
more. And if you drink a lot of water, it overcomes any kind of hunger that you have, really.
Okay.
So read up on it. It's called intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
and it's very, very good for you. Well, because the other thing that it does as well is it heightens your immune system as well, apparently. So,
Hmm.
and it goes back to like our natural. It's something to do with our natural biology. We're not we're
Yeah.
when we were before we developed agriculture and things like this.
Yeah.
Um, it used to be that we would eat, you know, and then like go out hunting and eat something, and then get up in the morning and not, and then go out and try and catch something else, like eat everything in the
Yeah.
night, because animals could come and nick it or whatever, I guess.
Right.
And then the next day you get up and you go out and catch something else, and you're really hungry at that. It makes
Mm.
you sharp as well. It makes your concentration better and stuff. But anyway, read up on it.
Yeah.
So, just briefly, we'll talk about this. So, at this point, the player stops, the mothership stops, all the asteroids stop.
Yeah.
The only thing that doesn't stop, I think, is the stars, right?
Yeah.
And the little man sort of runs down and he goes to the ship.
Yeah.
So, what we know for sure there is that we can easily do that within a clock cycle, within a raster beam, with no problem.
Yeah.
The reason that we would be using pre-shifts is if we're drawing a lot of stuff, right? Within the beam timer.
Yeah.
But if all you're doing is one little figure of
Yeah.
like a stick man like that,
Yeah.
you really don't need to worry about how much time there is. So therefore,
Okay.
you don't need to have eight shifts of this, of this
Yeah.
character like this, like one to like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead, what you would do when you draw the character is you would figure out, you would actually calculate it on the fly. Yeah.
Okay.
So to explain what that would involve, well, how can I explain it in a simple way? Well, actually, what I could do? I know the perfect way of explaining it like this. So if we go to here, good old AGD, no less. Right, just a second. Let's see if we've got. Well, we don't have the character, but let's use this one as an example. We'll use this fella, right? We'll change him so that he's running forward, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in some way. I mean, that'll do, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you do is you've got the shift, and so like if the player is at x0, yeah,
Yeah.
you just print that like that, right? as it is. And then you move across one, you can do that and there, right? But then
Yeah.
if it's another pixel along, you get a pattern like this, right? We'll wait for
Yeah.
it to catch up. Or let's say you get a pattern like that. So you're just rotating one byte, yeah?
Yeah.
But what you do when you're at this position, well, we'll wait for the mouse to catch up. So here. So what you do is you draw the left half on one square. Sorry,
Yeah.
you draw the right half on one square, and
Yeah.
then the left half on the next square.
Yeah.
See? So you just mask it off,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right? It's a bit of a slow method.
Right.
It's not massively slow when you've only got 8 bytes, though.
Yeah.
So you literally just look at it and then you just rotate it however many times forward.
Yeah.
I mean, you could rotate it backwards as well.
Yeah.
But because the speed is really not an issue, you can just actually literally put it in a loop and just go, yeah, moving forward like 8 pixels or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other thing you do is you'll have a mask, right? So I'll use this on the notepad so you can see. So when your shift is 0, right? Remember, you're
Yeah.
going to draw 2 bytes. You're always drawing 2 bytes for the overlap, right? So when you've got shift 0, the mask is going to look like this for each byte, which means you're only going to draw that half of the character because it's all inside the first square, right?
Yeah.
The second square will just be empty. You'll
Yeah.
still draw it, but it'll be empty.
Yeah.
And as I said, you're not worried about the timer of it at all. Yeah? So then the next one, what you do is you shift it across one like this.
Yeah.
Like that, right? And then for this mask, well, what you actually do is you just invert. So this mask A, let's call this mask A, and this is mask B, right? And mask B is always the inverse of mask A anyway, right? So as you move across, see, the inverse of it is always going to be that one there. See what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
What's you doing, Cat? Elisa? Uh-oh. Just a second.
Yeah. You all right?
No, she's fine. She found an elastic band, which is definitely not a good thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Have you had an elastic band experience?
No.
Cat's
No.
an elastic. Huh?
They've had pretty much everything else, but not an elastic band.
Well, she was going for the elastic band. The thing that, well, what happened was, I got up in the morning and came in, and on the floor in the living room
Yeah.
was one of Dina's hair scrunchies,
Oh yeah.
which is basically an elastic band
Yeah.
with, you know, and like bitten in half, resting in a pile of cat puke.
Nice.
So she chewed it and swallowed it and puked it back up, right?
Yeah. Lovely.
But you know, I know you're laughing, but in all honesty, she could have choked on that, really. You know, I could have walked in and just found a dead cat, which really,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Absolutely.
So, anyway, she seems to like elastic bands, but I should be careful not to leave them lying around. It's not
Did I
easy.
tell you
Anything
the stag
dangling. Hmm?
Did I tell you about the stag beetle?
No, but well, I tell you what, we'll go offline in a minute, and you can tell me about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the coding people who are watching probably don't want to know about that. But anyway, um, anyway, look. So I'll illustrate this for you just quickly here as well, right?
Yeah.
Give me a second, and I'll actually do it in a kind of quite a cool sort of a way that we can. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna export. Yeah, okay. Don't stop in the middle of the screen. Keep going. So this would be useful for anyone who wants to learn a few basics about graphics and how they work. And this will be a little bit of revision for you as well, Andy. So, okay, so just a minute. Okay, go on, go that way. Okay, so let's take a look at this. They really don't like things to be on shelves, do they? If anything's on a shelf, it needs to be knocked onto the floor.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, so we will go. We'll do this, right? Just a minute. Okay, that's not so clear. So I'll take that into the. Okay, okay, so tidy that up as well. Okay. So this here is your running colonist graphic, right?
yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Is it really as simple as that? It doesn't look quite right somehow.
Is that the one from the game?
Yeah, but it looks like, oh yeah, those two ones there, that's his head and that's his neck. Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah. And then you got three for the arm, three for the waist, two for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you imagine then, right, that we're drawing that, and so that's the byte pattern, right? If it's at if it's at pixel offset of 0 within a character square, yeah?
Yeah.
And if we want to move him across 1 pixel, well, you know, we'd have two sets, right? Like this. You know, there'd be another set here. I'll put those in as well just for. So as the player moves across,
Yeah.
let's say that we want to move the player across, say, another 4 pixels, right?
Yeah.
So we go 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we'd lose 4 pixels off here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this would be our 2 bytes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that all make perfect sense? Yeah.
Yes.
You can see how he's shifted over into the next byte along.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we have here, but we'd probably just have, we'd store it, right? So in terms of storage, we're just going to store, this is what we want. This is what we're drawing, right?
Hmm.
But this is, in terms of storage, we're just going to put it into 8, we're going to put it into 8 pixels.
Okay.
Sorry, 8 bytes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to look like this. Sorry, this is taking a while to delete, but anyway. Okay, so what we would do, we'll use that as the source, yeah? Right? Okay, so what we would do is this. If we want to move it 4 pixels, then we will go across 4 pixels, rotation, like that, and put that goes at that end.
Yeah.
Like this, 4, and this rotated around, yeah? And that's rotated around. We rotate this one around. So we would shift it across 4 pixels, but instead of shifting it, we just rotate the whole thing, yeah? And then what we do is by using a mask, we'll separate these two out like this. Yeah? And then what will happen is that there'll be 4 bytes here.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I've masked off that side.
Yeah.
Like that. And I've masked off this side.
Yeah.
Like that, right? So we've derived from that single one, we've derived these two. Yeah? I think that's right. Yes. Something not quite right there. Oh, no, I've made a mistake. Sorry, that should go, this is masked off at this side, yeah? So in terms of a mask, when we're moving it 4, this is what the masks would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Okay.
And that's what we've done with this
Mm-hmm.
thing, right? To create 2.
Yeah.
And then, but obviously those are actually the other way around, right? Because we've shifted it. So what we'd actually do is to print the whole pattern, you'd be printing that side, this one, light it up properly. The left and the right are the wrong way around, but if you look, it's the same result as this, right?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at, if you compare these two with these two, with what we drew, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you see that the left one is the same as the right one below, and the right one is the same as the left one below?
Yeah.
And that's the basic principle.
Okay.
So what you do when you're drawing a byte, then, since you understand that principle, I'll talk about the code. So you do something like this, right? So you go load A, colonist X, right? Assuming that you've set a coordinate for your colonist.
Mhm.
And then we would and 7 to get 0 to 7, shift, right? Then we can do something like load C with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 255, yeah.
All right.
And then we load B with A, which is a shift loop. Okay, and then let's say the source is colonist running, right?
Mhm.
That's the source of that's this thing here, you know, like the picture itself.
Yeah.
So in order to draw it, we go colonist X and 7, and then this is our mask. It's going to be the mask. And so we go, we do a shift loop and we say, what do we do? Let me just think. Load A. DE, right? And no, yeah, okay. And then we go like shift loop here. I'm kind of doing this on the fly as well, but load ADE RRCA, yeah. And I think, is it SRLC? I can't remember. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. Now I'll explain all of this in a second. Now, a little bit of a challenge here though. Oh, I guess we can use B now because we've yeah, okay. We can store the byte, yeah.
Mhm.
Then what we do is we go and C. I mean, look, we'd have to check this, but load HLA, inc L, load AB, no, inc L, load AC, CPL, load CA. I'll explain all of this in a second. Load AB and C, load HL, A. And then H, E, I guess we're going to have to do I guess we can use the stack, it doesn't matter. So we'll go load B8. Let's see. That, and Okay, so this is running colonist, isn't it? Not colonist running. Right. So I think what I'll do, just to finish up for today, then, is we'll test this. This is not a fast routine by any means, right? But it will work, hopefully. And I'll talk you through it, right? So we'll copy that away and we'll put it into our, make a, we got a demo here somewhere. And these are old demos that we had before. I can't read these very well, you know, these little.
No, tiny, isn't it?
Okay, well, anyway, it's easy enough, right? We'll just go like, I'll make a new one. Okay, we'll just call it charmove.asm. Okay, and we'll go device, select spectrum 1 to 8, output. Okay, we'll call it charshift.bin org 32768, and we need, what do we need? We need colonist X, right? And we can set a value here, like where we want to print the colonist. Let's say 23. No, actually, no, we'll set it at 0. So we'll just print it at the top of the screen, you know? I'll set it, I'll start to 0, I'll start it with 0, and then we'll figure it out, right? So we'll go load HL, comma, 4, 4, 0, 0, 0, right? At the top of the screen. So, right, let me talk you through this then. So there are going to be 8 rows that we're going to draw. Yep.
Okay.
And we're going to draw it. This is what we're going to draw from the source, and this is where we're going to draw it. Then we're going to store that on the stack so we can bring it back later for a nested loop. And at the start, for each, we have to shift each row, right?
Yeah.
So to do that, we get colonist X, and 7, right? And then here, actually, I've noticed if it's a 0 shift,
Yeah.
then we don't need to change anything, right? So we'll load C there, and then we'll go JR Z skip loop, right? So we won't do any shift.
Yep.
Or will we? Hang on a second. Yeah, here, skip loop, right? There. So it won't shift it if it's just a second, let me just yeah, okay, that's better. And I think, yeah, we can do that. We can load A with DE and then jump if it's 0. And in fact, no, we can't do that. Damn. Okay, just a minute, because you see, we can't do that because we need the value in here of if we skip the loop, okay, then what we'll do is we'll go JRNZ needs a shift, right? Oh, shift needed. Okay, so shift needed. It's this part here. And if shift is not needed, get source value and jump to skip loop. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounded more like a cat. Okay, so what we do is we'll see, do we need a have we got a shift, right? So in other words, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? In other words, we need to shift the byte across, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if the answer is not 0 to the and7 of the x coordinate, then we need a shift. So we'll go to the shift here. And the value of that will be the loop, will be the value from 1 to 7. How many shifts do you need?
Right.
Then we'll load A with DE and we'll rotate it to the right. And at the same time, we're going to shift C also to the right to get our mask, and that's going to be the right hand side mask.
Okay.
I think SRL is shifting it to the right. It might be actually that we should shift it to the left because we want the left mask maybe. That's weird. SRL, isn't there also SLL? No, SLA. Shifts register to the left. Bit 7 move to the carry and bit 0 reset. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so you see, this would be our mask if we're on 0 shifts, yeah? You there, Andy?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, if I do an SLAC, then that's going to move it to the left, and this one becomes a 0.
Yeah.
And that is, hang on a minute. No, that's the wrong way around then, isn't it? Just a minute. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was right in the first place. It's R. It's a shift. It's a shift to the right, not to the left. Okay. Shift to the right, my darling. Right. Okay, so what will happen is if I shift it to the right, yeah, C, then the mass becomes that. And the inverse of that is this.
Yeah.
And so you can see that's our new mask for the 2 bytes.
Yeah.
Like that. And so we do the same. So what we've done is we've rotated our byte and we've rotated our mask by the number of times that we've moved across to the right.
Right.
So at that point, we store the byte that we've got, which is a rotation of the source. We AND it with C, so that, and then we load it into HL. So that's one side. Then inc HL, go to the next byte along. Then we inverse C, get the byte back, AND it again, and put it into the screen. Then we go down and we go back one because we're printing on 2 characters. Then we go to the next source byte. Then we pop the loop back and we return.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. As you walk through it like that, I understand it. Yeah.
All right, so, well, let's look at it on a demo, right? So, oh shit, I just pressed the wrong. Reset. So I should be able to open the binary here. And right now, yeah, it's there. Okay. Okay. Right, that'll catch up in a second. All
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Right. Now, if I set the colonist X here to be, what, 3?
Yeah.
Now bear in mind, it's just the offset. You'd have to calculate from the X. You'd also have to calculate the screen address, right?
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's just in the top of the screen.
Yeah.
But if I now run this new one, we'll see if it works. Who knows if it works or not. It might not, because with this, in this case, it skips the shift anyway. So we might have made a mistake. I don't know. But if it works, then it should be 3 pixels across from where it was. And it is. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Bang. Right? And that's the, yeah, that's the basic premise, right?
Yeah.
So how much of that do you understand?
Most of that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll comment on it just a little bit more and then we'll finish up. So you understand that we need 2 masks, left and right, because we're writing into 2, we're taking 1 byte and we're putting it into 2. And,
right, yeah.
And by doing that, what we're actually doing is we're rotating it and then splitting it in half and putting 1 half on one square and 1 in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how and the nature of how much of that split depends on the X coordinate offset within a character square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what you do is you just rotate the whole thing. and then
Mhm.
take half of it and put it in the other byte.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the basic principle.
Mhm.
Now, it's not fast in any way because you're doing like 7 shifts
Yeah.
in some cases. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't really do this unless you knew that, unless it was something that was like in this example where you don't need to bother and you know, you want to save
Yeah.
a bit of memory or whatever. Because if I wanted 8 shifts,
Yeah.
then obviously I'd have to have 8 of those.
Yeah.
So it'd be a lot
Yeah.
more. And then, you know, so that wouldn't be very good. Probably the only other thing that you would do here is you would you would XOR it with HL and then load it there, right? So that you would print over the top of what was already there on the screen. Mix it with the screen. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here, mask off left side, draw left byte. Well, actually mix with screen, draw left byte. I will show you one more thing so that you can have it even clearer in your head, I think. So, okay, and now there, where you go down 1 pixel row, you might need to change that if you're drawing outside, you know, if you want pixel that, you know, if you're not within a character square, you might have to do a line down routine instead. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you want your Y coordinates, if you want it to be vertically moving by 1 pixel as well.
Yeah.
Which we do, incidentally. So, you know.
You do?
Yeah, because he has to climb up to the ship, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So there, pop BC is just up the top there from the loop counter up there.
Okay.
So we've got 8 rows. That's it. So I'll save that because I'll integrate that into the source code maybe tomorrow. But just to finish up, I'll show you this, right? This should help you to this should just solidify it in your mind just a little bit more. And to do this, I'll actually share. Stop this. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean. Sorry, I hung up on you then. You still there?
Yeah.
I meant to turn off the screen, not the call. Okay, here's ZX Paintbrush, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you what we're doing more in a slightly clearer way.
Right.
I mean a visual way, because you know you like your visuals, don't you? So let's say right, so I'm going to make a copy of this sprite there, because what this will do is allow me to show you what it looks like when it's rotated. So if you rotate it 3 times, well, let's rotate it 4 times instead, right? Because like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to copy this middle section here, and I'm going to just show you that when you rotate, so when you rotate that character, that is what you get, right?
Yeah.
Got it? Because that's
Yeah.
like, you know, like in AGD when you just do a shift.
Yeah.
So I've moved it across 4, yeah?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is with each of the bytes, I'm moving them across by 4 so that you'll effectively what it means is this is what we're printing.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we take it. Now this is doing 8 at once. We would be doing it line by line, right? But we would print that in the square here, like this, right?
Yeah.
And then this bit would be masked off like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And then we do the same thing again, where we get the square, and this time we go 1 across and we print it there. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then the mask is inverted, and we use the same mask, but we invert it. So instead of 2 on the left, it's 6 on the right, or whatever, yeah?
Yeah.
Whatever it might be. And we invert it like that, right? And so then the end result, as you can see, if I line it back up with the original here, is that, which is basically moved 4 pixels across, right?
Yeah.
So that's probably, you know what, if I'd shown you that at the beginning, you'd probably understood it better.
Yeah.
But that visually, that's a lot clearer, isn't it, as to how you do
Yeah.
that, right? But that's the basic principle.
And
But of
that's
cour-
all you're doing. You're just shifting it the 4 pixels.
Yeah, but within 1 byte, so it's like a rotation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I'm just taking 1/2, putting it in the next, putting it in the next the next character.
Yeah.
And yeah, in fact, that's kind of what AGD does in a way. But it does it with a 16 pixel instead of an 8.
Yeah.
So, you know, the front and the back, and it shifts it 2 pixels instead of 1. You know, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, and without going into too much, but look, if you look here, you see how, if you see here how I've got these you see how I've got these aliens here, or if I look at the player sprite, for example, right?
Yeah.
Now with this player sprite, I'm printing it like each time 3 characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with a 16 sprite, you're going to draw into 3 characters sometimes, because there, look, you see how that one goes into 3?
Yeah.
Now what I'm doing though is I'm storing them in big blocks like this, because memory, I'm not worried about memory. I want speed, maximum speed. So with this, I don't need to do any masking.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a lot faster.
Okay.
You know, but what I could do, feasibly what I could do, and this is what AGD actually does, is it would store this little bit here.
Yeah.
Over there like that. You see?
Yeah.
And so then you mask, and then you do a mask. You draw this bit. In this case, you've got a left bit, a middle bit, and a right bit.
Yeah.
And the left bit and the right bit are the ones that are masked. So you have that one, and then then you'd copy that bit over and store that at the end. So it's still 2 bytes. So it doesn't take up as much memory. But like I said, if you want it to be fast, then you don't do that, because it just takes up more time. But same principle would apply here as well, right? Even with a really big sprite like this, you would just overlap the back end bit on the front here, the right side over on the left side there, and then all these ones are just drawn as usual. If that makes sense. Hope so. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, look, that's an explanation, a bit more of an in-depth explanation as to how shifting works, and why we normally do pre-shifting, because pre-calculation is just going to be a lot quicker. In a game like this, we don't have to worry. In the AGD one, where I allowed where we could store the sprite unshifted, you see all those pre-shifts that I was doing?
Yeah.
Well, that's done with a lookup table instead. So it's like a way of calculating the shifts more quickly than just a loop, you know?
Right.
Like you would literally just point your X value to a table, and then it would tell you whatever byte it was, it would tell you what the shift was.
Okay.
But to do that with a single pixel shifts, you'd need 7 tables of 256 bytes. So it's a lot of memory. Eight tables actually. Well, one table you wouldn't really need, I suppose. You could get away with 7. But, anyway, that's that. All right. Right, guys. Well, we'll finish there. That was a bit longer than I expected. 3.5 hours. Never mind. It was useful. We did make good progress in the end. We'll be back tomorrow, and perhaps Andy will join us a little bit later if all goes well. Okay, guys. I'll say my farewell. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe. As always, happy coding. Bye-bye.